All right. I want to start us off today with a little visualization experiment.
Okay.
And obviously, if you're driving, please keep your eyes open. But for everyone else, just for a second, I want you to close your eyes. Picture a dining room, not your dining room. Picture a cool dining room. You know, maybe it's that trendy new place downtown, or a photo you saw on social media that made you stop scrolling. What do you see?
I think I can guess.
Yeah.
I'm betting there's a lot of brass, maybe. A fiddly fig in the corner that looks a little thirsty.
Oh, absolutely. I'm seeing those wishbone chairs, the ones with the woven seats.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely some of those exposed Edison bulbs hanging on really long
The
cords.
industrial chic starter pack.
Exactly. It's a checklist of stuff,
Yeah.
of things I can buy. I'm seeing labels, mid-century modern, farmhouse, Scandi minimalist.
Mhm.
But we're going to do something different today. We are going to completely scrap the shopping list. We're diving into a whole stack of notes on the interior design of dining, but here's the twist. None of this material mentions decoration. Not one word about which rug to buy.
It's a really fascinating pivot, isn't it? Because usually when we talk design, we talk about aesthetics, what something looks like. But this research, it treats design almost like behavioral science. It's
Yeah.
not about style. It's about invisible mechanics.
Invisible mechanics.
Yeah, we're looking at how a space physically behaves
Hmm.
and how that physics controls, and I mean literally controls, how you eat, how you digest, and how you connect with the person across the table.
Whoa, hang on. That's a huge claim.
Like,
Controls how you digest. I mean, that sounds a little out there, right?
it does, doesn't it? But think about it for a second. Think about the last time you ate at, say, a fast food place. Bright fluorescent lights, hard plastic seats, low ceilings, loud colors. How fast did you eat?
Oh, in like 4 minutes, I practically inhaled my food.
Exactly. That whole environment was engineered to create a sense of urgency. Now you compare that to a space that's designed for what our source calls emotional calm, which is really the core theme of our deep dive today.
Okay.
We're asking, why do some rooms make you want to wolf down your food and just run, while others make you want to linger over a coffee for 3 hours?
And the answer isn't just because the chairs were softer.
No. The answer is physics. Specifically, it comes down to three pillars: volume, light, and what the source calls material intelligence.
Okay, let's start with the first one, volume. The notes keep using this phrase, generous proportions. And to me, that just sounds like designer speak for expensive, oh, just have a massive house and you'll feel great. Is that all this is?
It's easy to read it that way, but generous here is really about the ratio, not just the raw square footage. The core concept they keep coming back to is something called visual pressure.
Visual pressure. Okay, I saw that in notes, but what does that actually feel like?
Okay, imagine getting into a really crowded elevator. Even if you're not claustrophobic, you feel a kind of subtle tightening in your chest, right? Your shoulders hunch up. You stop breathing so deeply.
Mm-hmm.
That is high visual pressure. Your brain is constantly processing boundaries, the walls, the ceiling, other people that are just too close for comfort.
Okay, I know that feeling. It's a low-level fight or flight response.
Precisely. Now, imagine walking out of that elevator into, say, a cathedral, or even just a grand hotel lobby with a 20-foot ceiling. What's the very first thing you do physically?
You exhale. You look up.
That is the absence of visual pressure. And the source argues that a well-designed dining space has to start by expanding the volume, specifically vertically. When you have what they call double-height dining spaces,
Mm-hmm.
the ceiling lifts way up, and the walls seem to recede.
So just by physically giving you more air above your head, the room is basically telling your nervous system to stand down.
It's forcing a physiological shift. People settle in slower. They move differently. There's this beautiful line in the text that describes the furniture in these high-volume rooms. It says the table doesn't feel like it's cluttering the floor. Instead, furniture is held by the space.
Held by the space. That's poetic. It's almost like the table is a boat floating in a quiet harbor, not a car stuck in traffic.
That is a perfect analogy. When you have that vertical volume, the table becomes this kind of island. The sheer amount of empty space, what architects call negative space, it signals to your brain that there's no scarcity. There is no hurry. It grounds you.
Okay, so we've got this massive airy box. We fixed the volume, but a big empty box is a warehouse, not a dining room. And the source spends a huge amount of time talking about what fills that volume. Light.
But not just any light.
Right, they're very specific about skylight-driven compositions. Now, play devil's advocate for me. Why skylights? Why aren't just big, beautiful windows enough?
Windows are great, but they're directional. Light from a window, it hits you from the side, it creates glare, If you're sitting at a table, one person might have the sun in their eyes and the other person is a total silhouette. It's high contrast, which can be visually tiring.
So it's uneven.
It's uneven. Skylights, or what they call top lighting, change the whole game because the light creates this ambient bath. It's consistent. But the real magic, according to the source, is the temporal quality.
Ah, that was the part that made the room feel like a giant sundial.
Yes. The room isn't static.
Mm-hmm.
It actually changes its personality throughout the day. In the morning, that overhead light is described as soft and directional. It wakes the room up without being, aggressive about it.
Right.
By midday, it becomes diffused and balanced.
And then we get to evening. This was the description that really stuck with me. The notes say evening light gently wraps surfaces rather than striking them harshly.
Wraps. That is the key word. Think about a flashlight. If I shine a flashlight at a wall, it strikes the surface. You get a hard bright spot and a hard shadow. But that ambient evening light filtering down from above creates a glow that just seems to wrap around the furniture and the people. It softens everything.
It's like nature's Instagram filter.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a practical side to this too, especially with color. I know you saw the section on weight.
I did, yeah, that was interesting. It said that with good skylights, you can get away with using much darker walls.
Right. If you paint a room, say dark charcoal or deep navy, and you only have these small side windows, what happens?
It feels like a cave. Or, yeah, a dungeon.
It feels oppressive. But the source explains that skylights let the vertical walls carry deeper tones and heavier textures without that cave effect. The sheer abundance of light balances the visual weight of the dark color. So you get the drama and the moodiness of a dark room, but you keep the airy, happy feeling of a light room.
That's a really delicate balance. And speaking of balance, we have to talk about the walls that aren't walls. The glass. The source moves from the ceiling to full glass facades.
And again, the intent here really matters. It's not just about having a nice view. It's about dissolving the boundary.
They talk about totally erasing the line between inside and outside.
Completely. If you have a glass wall, but it has heavy frames,
Yes.
Big chunks of wood or metal separating the panes, your eye stops at the frame. It says, stop. Here's the wall.
Mm-hmm.
The source advocates for uninterrupted glazing. When the glass is almost invisible, the garden stops being something you look at and it becomes part of the room itself.
They called it a living backdrop, which I thought was a really cool distinction from just, landscaping.
It is cool because living implies movement. Think about wallpaper. I don't care how expensive your wallpaper is, it is static. It never, ever changes. But a garden, that's entropy. You have wind blowing the leaves, you have shadows shifting, you have seasons.
So the room feels like it's breathing.
In a way, yeah. It ensures the interior never feels frozen in time, and it does some heavy lifting for the design, too.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of stone or concrete inside, which we'll get to, that greenery outside provides a soft counterpoint. It balances the hardness of the architecture.
Now, I have to call out the section on indoor plants because the tone in the notes got surprisingly stern here. It was basically like, put the plant down and step away from the corner.
It was very strict. No scattering, I believe, was the rule.
Yeah, no scattering, which I'm guilty of this. I buy a plant, I have no idea where to put it, so I just stick it in an empty corner. The source says that is a huge mistake.
It's a mistake because it's decorative, not architectural. The source says indoor greenery must be composed. It has to be handled with real precision. You place a plant to soften a specific sharp corner or to frame a specific view.
So the plant has a job to do.
It's working. It's mediating the transition between the hard glass and the soft furniture. It's not just garnish, it's a core ingredient.
Okay, so we've got this airy volume. We have light pouring in from the sky. We've got glass walls and composed plants. If I'm visualizing this right, doesn't it all feel a little unmoored, like I'm just floating in a greenhouse?
That's the danger. It's the danger of too much light and air. You need gravity. You have to ground the space. And that leads us to the next pillar, materiality, or what the source calls the emotional anchor.
The walls?
The walls. In these spaces, the solid walls are often treated with textured stone. And this is so crucial for that feeling of calm. You need that visual weight to counter all the lightness of the glass.
Well, wait, when I hear stone walls in a dining room, I immediately think of a castle or a wine cellar. It feels cold to me, hard. How does stone create calm?
That's a really common reaction. But think about how it interacts with the light we just talked about. If you have a smooth, flat white wall, light just hits and bounces off, it's flat. But if you have a textured stone wall, irregular, rough, and you hit it with that soft skylight, what happens?
You get shadows.
You get millions of tiny microshadows. The texture catches the light, it creates depth. It actually makes the room feel warmer and softer because the light is interacting with the surface, not just reflecting off it.
Okay, I can see that. But there was a specific rule about where this texture goes. They were very clear. Texture is confined to vertical surfaces.
Yes, this is what they call the visual quiet rule.
Visual quiet. I like that phrase.
Imagine if you had a rough stone floor, stone walls, and a wood slat ceiling.
That's a lot. My eyes wouldn't know where to look first.
It's visual noise. It's chaos. The source argues that to achieve calm, the floor and the ceiling have to remain smooth and neutral. They should recede. That way, the textured walls become the anchor, but they aren't competing with anything else.
It's all about contrast.
It is always about contrast.
Let's talk about color for a second. Because if we've got stone and light, what colors are we painting the rest? The source mentions deeper accent tones, earthy charcoals, muted clays. And again, I have to ask, why not just white? If we want calm and airy, isn't white the default setting?
White is the default, but white can be sterile. It can feel clinical. And honestly, in a really bright room, white can be glaring.
Thank you so much for diving deep with us today into the psychology of our dining spaces.
It's been a real pleasure.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive. Stay curious.